Hello everyone, this is Sophie. Thank you for joining me for a new tutorial. Today I will show you how to paint a pretty witch with a spider. And to begin with, I'm applying a very thin layer of metallic white on the forehead between the eyes in a rounded shape. Using another sponge, I am now applying the color metallic blue on the upper edge of the area previously painted in white, and I am flipping my sponge over and I am very slightly tapping on the area between the two colors to make sure that I achieve a nice blend. I am also applying this color on the eyelids. And to finish the base, I am now applying the color metallic purple on the remaining visible skin of the forehead, always making sure to blend nicely with the blue. I am continuing with this color and applying it on the temples and the outer eyelid area, but at this point I have only very little color left on my sponge. It is nearly dry because I only want to apply a very thin layer. I then proceed to doing the same thing on the other side of the face. And I then apply a lot of iridescent cosmetic glitter over the entire surface I just painted with the help of a little poofer bottle. The next step is optional because it involves regular eyeshadow, so you can leave it out depending on the age of the child you are face painting. I am using a dark blue eyeshadow, but you could also use a dark gray or even black. I am putting the eyeshadow directly over the eye and also on the outer edge of the eyelid, always making sure I blend nicely with the other colors. Ask the child to look up to the ceiling and remain very still and add a very thin layer of eyeshadow under the lower lash line. As I said earlier, you can skip this step if you're painting a young child, but the eyeshadow adds some depth to the design and gives it a more mature look. The body of the spider starts with a circle, and I chose the color blue. Make sure you don't place the circle too low between the eyebrows because you still need to leave room for the head and the legs. To simulate a 3D effect on the body of the spider, I add a darker color, in this case dark purple, to one side of the circle, as well as a thin outline on the other side. And I blend this color with the light blue underneath using a thick dry brush. I then switch back again to this round brush, I think it's a number 4, to add some highlight in white to the other side of the circle, and again I blend with my dry brush. The rest of the spider is done using a small round brush number 3 with black, and I'm first doing the head. Not very well, I must say. I'm sure you can do a better job than me. I then start the first section of the legs by painting 4 small teardrops on each side of the body of the spider. As you can see, all 4 legs are joined together somewhere between the head and the body. I then outline the body of the spider, adding a small triangular shape at the very top. The second section of the spider leg is done also doing teardrops, but as you can see, these are much longer. The first 4 are facing upwards, and the bottom 4 are facing downwards on each side of the bridge of the nose. To finish up the leg, all you need to do is use the very tip of your brush and do a small flick at the very tip of each leg. The spider web on each side of the face is also done doing some teardrops that are even longer than the ones on the spider. As you can see, these teardrops are slightly curved and they all join at the corner of the eye. Starting at the corner of the eye, I underline half of the eye and I attach 3 curved lines going from longer to smaller. To finish up the spider web, I add some very thin U-shaped lines between the teardrops. You will then need to do the same thing on the other side, always trying as much as possible to draw lines of the same thickness and length. To bring some connection between the spider and the spider web, I now draw 3 thin lines that are starting at the very top of the spider web and following the shape of the eyebrow. And I also add some tiny little U-shapes between these lines, similar to what I did within the spider web. Using now some white, I am bringing some highlights on the legs of the spider. And I am using this color also to put some little dots and highlights on the head and the body of the spider. I also added some tiny black dots between the spider web, but my little model here thought that they looked like dead flies. So I guess you might want to leave that out depending on what you think, if it looks good or not. But she approved of the white dots that I put here and there on the spider web and in different areas. So I was definitely relieved and happy about that. For a dramatic look, I mean, it's a witch after all, right? So I decided to paint the lips purple and to outline them with a thin black line. For an even darker look, I painted the corners of the lips completely black, and I blended the black with the purple with a dry brush. This is the final look. I hope you like it and that you will be able to use it maybe for Halloween. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day. Bye!